like to call the regular council meeting of February the 3rd, 2026 to order. No public hearings scheduled for this evening. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda by administration?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and council. Two that weren't on the original, and I don't know where the update is, but right now, 13.2.2, and it is, what are we calling it? Sorry. Seniors Transportation, and it's under correspondence with action. And then the second is in closed session with permission from council. 14.1.1 is a personnel item that I'd like to talk to council about.
Thank you. Anything from council?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, there's two personnel items that I'd like to talk to council about.
They're both under 29.1A, I believe.
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you. Anything from council? Look for a motion to accept the amendments to the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we accept the agenda as amended.
Okay. I'll
Presented.
call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. No public input or delegations this evening. No presentations. First item 8.1 is the adoption of the minutes of January 20th, 2026. Councillor Cosby?
I'll move that the minutes of the January 20th, 2026 regular council meeting be adopted as circulated.
Thank you. Discussion? Errors or omissions? Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. And 8.2, minutes of Committee of the Whole from January 27th.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Butcher. Discussion, errors, omissions? Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried as well. Any business arising out of the minutes or unfinished business from administration?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I just want to give council an update. Right after Christmas, I got an email from a councillor, and Mr. Mayor, you and I had a discussion about some issues around, or some frustrations from our public around our business license renewal process. All I want to tell council is two things. First, thank you for bringing those to our attention, because if we don't know about them, it's hard for us to fix them. And sometimes the public isn't comfortable coming to us, and they're more comfortable coming to you. That's fine. What I can tell you is we did identify an issue that was causing, I think, the disruption, and it basically was we had two parts of the process residing in two different offices, and what we've done is we've amalgamated those into one office to fix the glitch for this year, and we're going to be doing a complete review on how we do it for 2027. But we're confident that we've got the glitch figured out. And like I said, we'll be doing a review for 2027. We'll ensure that we get better.
Thank you. Anything for Mr. Van Buell? No? Okay. 10 bylaws, 11 new business, 11.1. We have the Community Service Board appointments. And Ms. Melnick, we're in your hands for this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. So the purpose of this request for decision is to appoint representatives to our Community Services Board. The proposed motion is that Linda Hewitt be appointed as a member at large for her first term, expiring February 3rd, 2029, and that Alex Dobler be appointed as a youth member for his first term, expiring in February 3rd, 2027. Administration recommends that carrying the above proposed motions. Some of the background of this is that our bylaw that we just talked about last week, section 4.1, the term of office for the community appointments to the Community Services Board shall be for a period of 3 years. No person shall serve more than 2 consecutive terms, but he or she may apply in writing to council for one final term without absence, and also in bylaw com 012026, section 4.2, youth members shall be appointed for 1 year term with the option of serving a second consecutive year. Some of the discussion is that Linda Hewitt has been a dedicated and valuable member of the Redwater Rec Association, consistently demonstrating commitment, initiative, and a strong sense of community. Her contributions have been meaningful and impact. She has proven herself as a reliable and effective team player. I'm confident that Linda will bring the same level of dedication and excellence to the Community Services Board. Her experience, insight, and community-minded approach make her an excellent candidate for this role. And our youth member, Alex Dobler, has served as a dedicated and reliable leader in training for the past 2 summers, contributing his time and effort to the success of our summer programs. He is closely connected with our homeschooling community, bringing valuable insight and engagement to his role, and he has expressed a strong interest in becoming even more involved in future programming. It should be noted that Alex Dobler does have an immediate family member who does sit on the board, which could be perceived as a potential conflict of interest. However, the board is advisory in nature, and administration doesn't foresee this presenting an issue. If any issues arise, council may revoke the appointment at any time. The bylaw is already being referred back to the Community Services Policy Committee, and this may be an item to revisit during that review. Any evaluations of the appointee should be conducted in closed session and they've been included of what they sent us. There is no financial implications. Some of the internal impacts, the process of recruiting new board members has proven to be very difficult, and I believe we shouldn't turn away those who are wanting to volunteer to join. There's no external impacts, and for our strategic alignment, it aligns with engagement and communication. Our Community Services Board is fully aligned with our commitment to engage and communication. The board is dedicated to fostering engagement with residents by showcasing various events and programs that the town of Redwater offers. The board enhances and communicates the values of these services we provide to the community. And they also align with our service excellence by adding 2 members to the Community Services Board, supports service excellence by strengthening collaboration, increasing community insight, and helping ensure programs are responsive to local needs and delivered effectively. The relevant legislation is our bylaw com -01-2026. And should we go ahead with this? The communication plan is if members are appointed to the Community Services Board, administration will communicate this with them and go through the orientation package prior to the first meeting, and they will be able to attend the February CSB meeting later this month.
Thank you. Councilor Wilson, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that Linda Hewitt be appointed as member at large for her first term expiring February 3rd, 2021.
Thank you. Other than protected information, is there any discussion by council? Not seeing any. Is there any discussion council would like to go into closed session? Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor? That's carried. Councillor Cosby, your hand was up.
Thank you, Viewers. That Alex Dobler be appointed as the youth member for his first term expiring February 3rd, 2027.
Thank you. Other than protected information, is there anything council would like to discuss? Anything with respect to a closed session? Not seeing anything, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Ms. Melnick, thank you for putting this forward. It came to a committee of the whole originally, and then you've brought it forward for tonight. So thank you very much for putting the work effort into it. Thank you. 11.2, Willows North, Directed Control District. I believe, Ms. Lane, we're in your hands for this one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. So the purpose of this request for decision is to approve development permit DPR 2026-001 and DPR 2026-002. The proposed motions, there are two. The first one is to authorize myself, the development officer, to approve development permit DPR 2026-001 and to authorize the development officer to approve development permit DPR 2026-002. Administration recommends carrying out the above noted motions. So Land Use Bylaw PD 022025 received third reading at the December 15th, 2025 regular council meeting, which included adding the DC1 Direct Control District, the Willows North. Administration has since received two applications for development, both within the DC1 district. So Part 1, Section 1.11, Subsection 1 of the Land Use Bylaw states that Council shall issue decisions for development permit applications in a direct control district unless such authority has been delegated to the Development Officer for the Municipal Planning Commission or the Municipal Planning Commission. So firstly, DPR 2026-001, Block 20, Plan 1520645 is located at 5002 46th Street within the DC1 district. The proposed development is comprised of an 1,885 square foot, two-story, single-family dwelling with an attached garage and an undeveloped basement, and is considered a permitted use within the DC1 district. Administration has reviewed the proposed development, and it is considered to be in conformance with the Land Use Bylaw. Development permit number DPR 2026-002, Lot 22, is located at 5004 46th Street within the DC1 district. The proposed development is comprised of a 1,989 square foot, two-story, single-family dwelling with attached garage and an undeveloped basement, and is considered a permitted use within the DC1 district. And as well, administration has reviewed the proposed development, and it is also considered to be in conformance with the Land Use Bylaw. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Council? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Smith.
I'll make a motion to authorize the development officer to approve development permit DPR 2026-001.
Thank you. Discussion by council. Go ahead, Councillor Olson.
It's gonna be nice to start seeing some more houses going up again.
Definitely. Not seeing anything else from council, I'll call that question. All in favor? Thank you. Councillor Spicer?
I'll make the motion to authorize the development officer to approve development permit DPR 2026-002.
Thank you. Discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Costa.
Just one comment before it gets issued, that the legal the legal address is updated on the second permit. It's lot 22, not lot 23. Sorry.
Thank you. I will confirm that.
On the permit itself?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, with the conditions, it should be lot 22.
I notice also on the development permit, there's a couple of caveats with respect to keeping the land clean and tidy, and I know we did have an issue some time back with some blowing debris and stuff like that, so just a reinforcement to try and keep that to a minimum. It's hard under a construction site if the wind picks up and what have you, but try as best we can. And anything else from council? Not seeing anything, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lane, for putting that package together.
Thank you.
11.3, Mr. Davison, I believe we have to talk to you about some budget amendments.
Indeed. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. All right, so my request for decision, purpose of this RFD is to seek council approval to amend the 2026 capital budget to include a previously approved and funded carryover project for the engine-driven pumps replacement, Phase 2, and add an urgent capital replacement of a rooftop HVAC unit at Pembina Place due to unexpected equipment failure in January 2026. You see the proposed motions there. I'll go on to the recommendation. Administration recommends that council approve both capital budget amendments to carry forward the previously funded engine-driven pumps replacement and authorize the addition of the Pembina RTU replacement as an urgent capital expenditure to ensure continued safe operation of the facility. A little bit on the background. First up, we'll talk about the engine-driven pumps replacement. The project was approved by council in the 2025 capital budget. How we missed this, I'm not 100% sure. It should have been on the list. It was a carry forward. The project involves replacing the aging backup engine-driven pump systems with a diesel generator to ensure reliable emergency water distribution operations. And due to delivery delays of the generator equipment, which we were told would be here in early January, it is now moved to April 2026 for arrival of the generator. As soon as it hits the ground, we will have that project up and running and completed. It is around about 60% complete right now, just waiting on the generator to arrive and hook it in with the transfer switch. So a bit of a pain, but it will arrive. As you're previously aware, and you saw the attachment with the 2025 capital budget in there, it was funded through LGFF at $175K. On to the second piece, which is the Pembina Place rooftop unit replacement. In January 2026, a Lennox natural gas rooftop HVAC unit servicing Pembina Place experienced a critical failure, which the critical failures were a cracked heat exchanger and a failed blower motor. Unit was originally installed in 2006 and had reached the end of its typical 15 to 20 years service life. Replacement parts are no longer available due to the age of the unit as discovered via 2 separate vendor inspections and diagnosis. And immediate replacement was required to obviously maintain safe working conditions for staff, prevent freezing of utility lines, and ensure continued operation of community services in the adjacent food bank facility in a heated manner. As I stated before, 2 quotes were obtained and a replacement unit was installed on January 8th, 2026. You might remember that from the COW report. On to the discussion side of the house. Obviously, the engine-driven pumps replacement, we've done a business case for this one before, but it's a critical component of the town's water distribution system. Carrying the project forward ensures continuity of council-approved capital planning without financial impact. And obviously, the replacement will improve reliability, operator safety, long-term maintenance efficiency. In reference to the Pembina Place RTU replacement, heating failure during the winter conditions pose immediate operational safety and asset protection risks. Delaying replacement obviously not an option unless we want some frozen utility lines and some possible complaints. Replacement restores reliable heating and prevents further facility risk. Onto the financial implications. As we know, with the engine-driven pumps replacement, there is no financial implication. It was already approved and funded via LGFF. Onto the Pembina Place rooftop unit. It will be an increase to the 2026 capital budget of $18K. It's a reduction of the recreation agreement reserve with a remaining projected balance of $14,806. Keep in mind this $14,806 is what was left over from us holding that grant for the 5 years, which is our $50,000 contribution and the county's $50,000 contribution over that 5 years. This is still fitting under that cap. So that I'll report to the county this year because we report to them every year as well on our financials in reference to that grant. Internal impacts: improved reliability of emergency water distribution infrastructure, continued safe and comfortable working environment for town staff, reduced risk of facility damage due to freezing, supports operational continuity of community services. Our external impacts: ensures uninterrupted delivery of essential water services, maintains accessibility and service availability for our community programs, protects operations of the food bank and community support services, and overall enhances community safety and resilience. I'll move on to relevant legislation, standards, policies or plans. Alberta Occupational Health and Safety Act and Code, Municipal Government Act, Town of Redwater Asset Management Policy, and the approved 2025 and 2026 capital budget and LGFF funding framework. Our communication plan amendments will be communicated through council meeting minutes as will happen after this meeting, updated 2026 capital budget documentation and internal communications with our operations, facilities and finance teams. And the attachments that you would have had in your package are the 2026 capital budget with the February amendment. You'll see highlighted in red our 2 additions. The 2026 grants continuity amended, both, and 2025 approved capital projects, 2026 reserve continuity amended as well. And that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Spicer.
Move that council approves the amendment to the 2026 capital budget to include the engine-driven pumps replacement Phase 2 project as a carryover from 2025 with funding in the amount of $175,000 previously approved and funded through the local government fiscal framework, resulting in no financial impact to the 2026 capital budget.
Thank you. Discussion by council.
We just need that pump here.
This has been a long project, long project, and it can't happen fast enough. It really can't.
100% agree.
Yeah. So, not seeing anything else from council, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Councillor Cosby?
The council approves the amendment to the 2026 capital budget to include the Pembina Place rooftop unit replacement project in the amount of $18,000 to address urgent facility heating requirements funded out of Pembina Place reserves recreation agreement.
Thank you. Discussion? This is, go ahead,
You
Councillor
could have
Spicer.
thrown gas code in there too. You're not allowed to repair those. Sorry, the chamber, you can't repair those. You're not allowed to.
No, fair. That's fair.
This is the little unit right on the roof of community services, correct?
Yeah, correct.
If I'm not mistaken, in the wintertime, that snows over really badly because of the building design where you get that crowning of the snow and everything. So I'm assuming you have some sort of a process in place to make sure that gets shoveled out regularly, because it'll destroy a new unit easily as fast.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, that's definitely something that that's been recognised. So they do open the hatch, go up. Note this year, the hatch did actually freeze, which is the first time since I've been here where I've seen the hatch freeze. So the melt and then the drop in temperature just put a layer of ice on there. So it took a little bit of thumping to get through the hatch, and but they go up there and they do remove the snow. The snow load this year was unexpectedly high, and gave them a little bit of a shock when they went up there, and the unit was partially buried. So they're very aware, but they do routinely go up there and check the units and make sure they're shoveled out. Of note, and I know no one's asked this, so I'll offer up the information just flat out. We do have other units out there that are at end of life. We were aware of this through the condition assessments that we had done. So we were aware. As you know, we did replace one last year. Did we pick the wrong one? Yeah. Without the history, it's hard to pick when you're going to crack a unit like that. So at the end of the day, they were both sitting at very similar ages. The one we replaced is a tiny little bit older, but yeah, that's the luck of the draw sometimes. So.
Go ahead, Mr. Van Buel.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I just want to make a comment on the process for getting this in front of council. You've heard me say before, everything has to be in a budget, or we're not allowed to spend. In this case, me being the CAO, authorized the expense outside of the budget, knowing that we were going to bring this forward. But it kind of highlights, I think, an amendment that we need to make to the CAO bylaw. Right now, if it's a shrimp emergency, I have some authority to do emergency expenditures. Unfortunately, in our operations and maintenance, or in this case, capital, I don't have that same authority. So expect administration to bring back an amendment allowing me to make those purchases when they're necessary, and bringing back, like we did today, an amendment to the budget that allows us to identify the funding and how we're going to cover that. As you noticed in the report, one of the options is we can go back into our budgets and cut some things if council's not comfortable with the, going into the reserve. And that's how I would expect any future items to be carried out as well. If we have to make a repair that's not in the budget and we don't have a choice, you know, in this case it was capital, we would do that, and then we'd come back with funding options for council decision. And one of those is always going to be, you know, we go into the budget and, you know, in this case, we didn't identify it, but if council says, you know what, we don't want to go into that reserve, then it'll be administration to come up and go, okay, I guess we're not doing this, we're not doing that, we're not doing this, to come up with those dollars. But I just wanted to bring that forward for councils. Because again, it's not in the budget, and to the letter of the law, expense shouldn't have happened. But in this case, I didn't feel we had a choice but going forward.
This is a critical item. A cracked heat exchanger, like I said, you're not allowed to repair them, nothing. You have to, a new unit.
But again, I just wanted to be upfront and saying, the letter of the Municipal Government Act, I, being the CAO, is off base, but I didn't feel like I had much of a choice. But to get it replaced.
Just while Ms. Tingley's here, what do we use as our definition for capital? Another agency I'm with, they use anything that extends the life of a certain item is designed as capital. And I believe there was at one point in time we were told anything over 5,000 or something is a threshold that moves it into capital. What do we use here?
Yeah, so you're correct. The threshold is $5,000. The item has to extend the useful life of the asset, so it's in line with the CRA rules for TCAs. But yeah, those are the thresholds. So it's not a regular operating expense.
Thank you. Anything else? Go ahead, Councillor Smith.
So if we reject this, it means you gotta pay for it?
The letter of the law, that would be correct. And again, I've talked about this in the past, right? It's not something I take lightly, but again, we're between a rock and a cold place, if I can use those. But again, in this case, council can simply say, you're gonna find it in the budget somewhere, right?
And I think there's a case to be made for reasonableness too, because I don't think you can just conjure up everybody on council to approve something at a special meeting at the drop of a hat either. So like Mr. Davison says, you're dealing with building continuity and worker safety, and I would expect anybody dealing with those kind of situations to step forward and lead, which is exactly what you did, so.
I'll pass that on to Mr. Davidson. He didn't give me much choices either. And again, I mean, we're making light of the situation, but the bottom line is, we didn't have many choices.
Yeah, for sure not.
You know, we had, any of our choices had stink on them, basically.
Anything, go ahead,
Yeah,
Councillor.
so that being said, I think, 20,000 versus $1 million is a different conversation, right?
And I think the fact that you realized too that you had monies left over in that mutual account, just for
That's what it's there for.
council's information, we have an agreement with Sturgeon County, and each year we both put $50,000 into a pot, so that if there is capital expenditures on the building, we do have that ability. We did spend a considerable amount of that, $4.5K.
Yeah,
roughly.
Yeah, 4.4 thereabouts, yeah.
To re-roof that building this year, as far as everything but the flat roof.
Correct.
And so we did have that little bit of extra in that reserve, that contingency left over, so. Go ahead, Mr. Webb.
Just on that, what we've tried to do, at least since I've been here, is we've tried to pool that, like, the county would like us to spend it no less than or no more than 5 years. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to keep that, like, we've tried to build that reserve so that we can do some of the more expensive projects, roof repairs and those kinds of things. And so that's why you've seen a big drain on that reserve in the last two years, because we got into that 350, 400,000, so we started to do some of the bigger projects. In this case, we were, again, a bit fortunate that we had, you know, a few dollars left over to handle what, in the grand scheme of things, is a fairly minor repair. Again, to use Councillor Brown's, you know, 20,000 versus $1 million is, you know, in the grand scheme of things, not a big amount. But we still have to fund it, and we still have to have that ability to fund it, for sure.
The motion on the table is to approve the expenditure of the $18,000 on the rooftop unit. Anything else from council? Call that question. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Olson.
Should we be discussing getting rid of the shift grant off of this as well? Capital projects? Want to leave it for further?
Let's leave it for some further discussion. It might not,
Maybe change the acronym?
it might be something else.
Okay.
And sorry, I think there's a good discussion to be had there. There's an upcoming item on the.
Yes,
talk.
and that's why I was wondering why we're here.
I think being that that's a specific project, we'll keep it all in one package.
Two separate grants, one's been, so that's all.
11.4, town employee fire response. And Ms. Tingley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So, back in front of you with this policy update again. So I won't dive too much into the specifics because we spoke about it during the committee of the whole meeting. But this is a policy that hadn't been updated since 2015. And since then, Sturgeon County has assumed control over the Redwater Fire Department. So there was a lot of terminology that needed to be updated. We do have a new policy format, so we updated to the new policy format. At the committee level, we discussed some changes to some of the guiding principles, adjusted the wording to section 6.3 and 6.4 to add some clarification to how employees were going to be compensated when they were responding to fire calls, if they were part of the fire department, and how employees are impacted if they were on call during that time. So that's under principles 6.3 and 6.4. During the presentation at the committee of the whole meeting, there were no additional changes proposed at the time. So the agreement or the policy that was brought forward on January 27th, there's been no changes since then. So administration's recommendation is that council carry the proposed motion to approve this policy as presented. And that concludes my RFD.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Madam Chair.
Councillor.
Move that council approve the updated policy 1005-101, town as presented.
Thank you. Discussion?
You said it all.
Sorry?
You've already said it all.
Just as a tiny update to it, I was watching the council meeting from Gibbons the other day, and they're entering into, or they're discussing with Sturgeon County about a similar process for Gibbons as well. So that'll be up and coming in the near future as well. So, nothing else from council. I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Payment methods. Policy 321.5. Ms. Tingley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So with the payment methods, again, looking to update with the change of the formatting. We also wanted to set some parameters around the inclusion of like the Perfect Minds payment system that we use at community services. So initially we talked about we discussed a $500 cap on the Perfect Minds payments, but when this was brought forward to the policy committee, it was decided that the cap would be $1,000 to be more in line with the credit card policy, just for some consistency with our payment methods.
During the committee of the whole meeting, there was an additional change proposed. It was suggested that under section 6.1, under the guiding principles, just to remove perfect minds for clarity, as perfect minds is not set up to facilitate the payment of utility or property tax payments. So thank you for that that note. So that has been reflected in the copy, the clean copy that you see this evening for review. So there's no financial implications in terms of internal impacts, just some additional clarity surrounding the payment methods and limits. And externally, just improved payment method policy allows administration to accept a wider range of payment methods to improve service delivery to residents and users. And that concludes my RFD for payment methods policy.
Thank you. Councillor Cosby?
I'll move that council approve policy 321.05, payment methods as presented.
Discussion. Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Policy 324.2, fuel card. Again, Ms. Tingley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Again, another policy that just hadn't been visited in several years. We needed to update to the new format and make some revisions there. So at the committee level, there were no changes proposed once we converted the policy to the new format. When it was presented at COW, there was one additional formatting change that was recommended under section 6.1 guiding principles to include a space before CAO. Thank you very much for that. So this has been updated in the final document, but other than that, there was the inclusion of Schedule B. So we've replaced the sworn affidavit with a declaration of purpose. So the sworn affidavit requirement it was impractical due to limited availability of commissioners for oaths, and it doesn't provide meaningful oversight. So the new supervisor verified declaration strengthens controls and reduces administrative burden. So thank you, Ms. DeWitt, for the inclusion of that. And that concludes my RFD.
Thank you. Councillor Butcher.
I'd like to do the proposed motion with the council approve the updated policy 324.02 red water fuel card as presented.
Thank you. Discussion by council. Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Wastewater Capacity Project Funding Strategy. Mr. Van Buell.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, so Thursday morning was a bit of a gut punch, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I got the email from the government of Alberta. But to make a long story short, we were not successful in our shift grant to the federal government, which puts our project, basically on the back burner. And what we've got to figure out here coming up is we have an approval process that we have to start to get our system approved by Alberta Environment. Everything from and it's really from the lagoons back and the lift station back, I guess, basically. And it has, as you all aware, I'm not going to go into details of the project because there's a lot of moving parts in it, but in addition to this grant, being the SHIFT grant, we had also applied for the AMWAP grant, which is the Alberta Municipal Water and Wastewater Partnership Program. And it was going to be the matching piece. The problem here is, even if the province was to give us money now, and we've applied for, I believe, $5.5 or $6 million from the province. That's a 60-40 grant. So if our project is $6 million, we have to come up with 40% of that $6 million somehow. We just don't have that ability to do that right now. So we've got to come up with a different strategy, and whether we're still looking into because when I think we did send you the email that there is some money some additional monies being added to the federal government's budget for infrastructure projects, but those details aren't out yet. So I guess to answer Councillor Olson's question from before, I don't know that I want to remove the project right now because there may be something else to go with it. And I don't want to scrap the project and be going to the provincial government saying, you know, nothing's going to happen. Bottom line is, as we all know, you know, we had a discussion, you know, last week. We have some significant roadblocks to development, and they very well start with our wastewater capacity, and we've got to be able to jump over that roadblock before we can have any significant growth in our community. So what I'm saying is, it's not a matter of if, it's how, right? It's how are we going to do this? So we need to make a bit of a pivot. I think we'll have some more discussions on this when we talk about our corporate plan, when we go through our strategic planning session. We'll talk about how we pivot on this. But we will come back to council with an alternative strategy, and whether that includes funding this year or in 2027 and 28, however that works, we'll have to do something. So, other than that, that's kind of what I wanted to tell council. Again, I sent council the email. It's important for our public to know where we're at, though, and that's why an open session at council is, from my perspective, you know, the start of that. Because we hear it all the time. You know, why aren't we growing? Why aren't we adding this? Why aren't we doing this? We have some infrastructure issues that we've got to overcome. And like I said, it's not if, it's how, and we've got to figure it out.
Discussion by council. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
I'll move that council direct administration to bring forward further information regarding alternative funding strategies for the town's wastewater system upgrade as discussed.
Okay, thank you. Further? We'll add one small addition to this, basically more so with respect to the Housing Infrastructure and Communities Canada upcoming to be determined. A couple of different things with that. Originally, we heard that it was 21 billion over 10 years, and that has changed now to 45 billion over 10 years. Or
I think the email was 51.
51. It was 45, and now it's changed to 51 billion. So there is a little more money in that pot, hopefully down the road. The second thing with respect to that is Minister Cooper was in touch with me direct with respect to the SHIF rejection and then the HICC forwarding. He will be monitoring the HICC directly at the Parliament level, and his interpretation, or the interpretation, is that because we had a SHIF application, there's a chance our grant would then follow into HICC, and we wouldn't have to resubmit. We may have to tweak, but we wouldn't have to resubmit. So there are a couple of perhaps, but we don't know exactly what those will be. But again, to have Minister Cooper in our corner helping us out with that is a big thing. So, Councillor Spicer.
The problem is we want to see growth, and if we hold our breath for this finances from the federal government, we might be holding our breath a very, very long time. I don't know if we can just count on
We're
it.
coming up with $14 million, though.
Yeah.
I know.
GoFundMe?
Just jumping back to the whole process. One, the fact there's more money there. Two, it's specifically an infrastructure fund. It's not a building fund per se. There's at least a chance. We said the same thing to some extent about the bridge grant, and we were able to get that. But I think it might be important, Mr. Van Buell, at your level, if you were to discuss with Michael from Tech, just to let him know that we're keeping that in play right now and holding our breath on federal money to try and help it out. At least keeps us in the queue with the province. Anything else from council?
I'll just have one comment, and you know, I started by saying it was a real gut punch. It was like when I read the email, it was like, whew. One of the things that I did when I went home and had to pour the glass half full, it's like an at bat in baseball. That's only strike one. We've got some more swings to take. So, and that's our job as administration, is to go find which pitch to swing at. That's what we're going to do.
Anything else, council? Motion is that we direct administration to bring forward further information. I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Mr. Van Buell. Reports. Anything from council? Councillor Olson?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Cosby?
Nothing at this time.
Councillor Smith? Councillor Spicer? No. Deputy Mayor Brown?
No, nothing at this time.
Councillor Butcher? One small update for you from the Water Commission. As you were aware, there was a second inspection done of our main water feed, and there were two holes located in the main delivery pipe. The first one has been repaired. Administration was advised, and we worked through that, no problem. The second repair is ugly as to location and type. It is going to start on the 9th of February, and we could be without water supply for about 6 or 7 days, depending. Mr. Davison is aware of the situation. Him and Mr. Van Buell have notified our water users that we have to be aware of that. You did say we had about 10 days?
So technically we have between 17 and 19 days.
Oh, okay.
But we won't run the reservoir up that full. So we will have more than enough than what we will require.
Okay. So I'm sure that there'll be messaging and what have you going out on our social media platform and everything else. But if you're asked by any of the constituents, the answer is real simple. It's the same type of pipe that Calgary had trouble with. We know there's a problem with it, so we want to be proactive and get ahead of it. And unfortunately, where this leak is, it's in the bottom of a ravine. There's a 22-degree bend in the pipe at the bottom of the ravine. And to get into it, open it up, expose it, fix it, get some thrust blocking in place to keep that pipe from moving once the water gets turned back on, and get a flow. It's not going to be an easy process, but we've got a good team working on it, and they will do everything they possibly can to make it happen. Mr. Van Buell?
I'll just add one, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'll just add one piece of information that we got kind of late today, and that is, once they open it up, they'll be giving us a better update of what their time what their ETA is for it to be complete. Again, we all know, we've all been told it's in an ugly place. It could be as long as 6-7 days. If it's not as bad, they will obviously be able to reduce that timeline. But they won't know until they open it up and they actually get eyes on it, and then they'll give us a better update of what we're looking at for time frame.
Just make sure the fire department's aware too.
That's already taken place. Yeah.
And again, we've notified our large users to, tone it back.
Be aware.
Be aware. Because we will protect I will say this, we will do whatever we need to do to protect our system to make sure that our emergency services and our critical water users have water. And when I say critical water users, I'm talking about our institutions, our long-term care facilities and our hospitals, and like, we will make sure that they are taken care of, and we will do whatever we need to do that.
For a motion to accept reports.
I can make that motion, accept your report.
Councillor Cosby, thank you. Call that question, all in favor? And that's carried. Correspondence for information. Property taxes reimagined. Well, I haven't reimagined my property taxes for a long time, but information from Alberta Munis regarding some promotional work they've been doing with respect to property taxes, what they do, how they do it, the challenges municipalities play or have with regards to water and wastewater systems, recreation facilities. So there's some information from Alberta Munis as to where you can go for resource material with respect to that. A letter from Alberta Municipal Affairs. Minister Williams was kind enough to meet with us at Alberta Munis. I believe there was 4 of us from council there. And three or four.
Yes, yeah.
And Minister Williams was very receptive to us be sitting around the table with him and having an open discussion. Mr. Van Buell was there. I found it kind of low key. It wasn't stressful at all. He was quite the communicator. So he was thanking us for meeting with him and indicated that he would work with Minister Dreeshen, and at that point in time that was with respect to our MWAP application. So we thank him for that. Alberta Early Learning Care Leaders Caucus, an upcoming event. And if I'm not mistaken, this is in Brooks, is it?
Well, that's the last one.
Oh, that's the last one, yes, sorry, okay. This is just a notification that they'll be in contact with us soon. So we can look forward to that. Probably end up in administration's hands at some point in time. Our president of Alberta Munis has provided us with an op-ed that they Alberta municipalities wrote for the Calgary Herald. I tried chasing it down. I didn't see it, but it relates back to the property taxes reimagined threshold. So we can expect to hear some more of that from Alberta Munis. And then the Recycling Enterprise Convention is in Brooks, and that's from March 18th through to March 20th. And I would assume that Rose Ridge is going to be there, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything from.
Likely somebody from Rosewood will be.
Look for a motion to accept general correspondence.
I'll make that motion, Your Worship.
Thank you. Discussion. Call that question, all in favor? And that's carried. With action. So the RCMP Community Priorities Plan invitation letter. Some of us were involved to some extent with the Sturgeon County process that they followed through with the other day. 2 weeks now, I think, 2 weeks ago now.
19th January.
And the RCMP have changed their process. They're shifting more of the responsibility back onto the municipalities as opposed to themselves. and they're looking for some preparation and consultation. So community leaders consult with their constituents in advance of meeting with the RCMP to gather ideas, concerns, and objectives related to community safety. This initial consultation is the first of 2 points of engagement and is an important step in ensuring that policing priorities are built with the community, not for the community. So we can involve Sergeant Dehan with this. I would suggest probably we will put this into administration's hands to come up with a plan as to how they want to do the consultation. I would think perhaps maybe and we have the entire month of February and very early into March to do this. I'm thinking we may want to do some sort of a survey or coffee with a cop type thing is coming up February 19th at the Diamond Springs, or no, at Pioneer Club, as opposed to Tim Hortons. So there's an opportunity there to maybe gather some input, but that'll be for council to decide how they would like to proceed. So
Miranda, is my meeting on Thursday with?
Dealing with 13.2.1, what would council like to do as far as a motion? Simply direct administration to come back to us with their plan as.
Yeah, I would make a motion that we hand this off to powers that be to come back with a plan that we can address this.
Okay. Does that work for administration?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, my quick question to Miranda, and with what week we're in, but I do meet with Corporal Dehan on, Sergeant, sorry, I said Corporal, Sergeant Dehan on Thursday for my monthly, and so we'll sit down and we'll come up with a plan that we can come back to council and say, what do you think about this?
Okay. Anything else from council on it? Thank you for that motion. I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. 13.2.2, Seniors Transportation Society letter. So, February the 2nd, 2026, Dear Redwater Town Council, we are writing on behalf of the Redwater and District Seniors Transportation Society to inform you that we are at risk of disbanding at the end of February 2026. The reasons for this decision include factors such as lack of volunteers, burnout of long-standing members, and a volume of online registration and admin work that exceeds our abilities and resources. We have spoken with members and officials of the town about sharing some of this work, but no progress has been made on that front. As such, we formally request that this letter be read at the next possible council meeting and that a definite date be set for a meeting between council and Redwater and District Seniors Transportation Society. Please contact, and I'll delete the next for privacy reasons, and it's signed by, I believe, executives of the society. I would like to point out to council that approximately a year ago, Mr. Davison and I had a meeting with these two people. At that time, the problem was with insurance and what they could and couldn't do and how they could do that and what have you. Mr. Davison provided some resources to help through that problem. And then, not quite, I want to say 15 days ago, we had representation from the Transportation Society here in front of council, and apparently the problems they've developed over, I don't know, 15 years that they've been running weren't solved fast enough by council in 15 days, so they had to present this letter. And I'm not sure why, but the demand was that it be on tonight's agenda. And I'm just looking for input from council.
So,
Go ahead.
my understanding that the town used to play a very big hand in this society, and we walked away from it for numerous reasons. And I think, I think the society's angling for us to take that over again. And I would be against that. I think we can help them out. I think that we can provide them with some resources or, some direction. But I don't think us diving back into that is good for them or for us.
Is this something that can be discussed at the strat plan?
But it sounds like they want it to happen like now.
And go ahead, Councillor Butcher.
Well, I'm the one that received the letter from one of the volunteers. And I do align with them in a lot of ways, because most of them are in their 80s and going on, and our volunteers are getting thinner and thinner all the time. And what are we going to do if, let's see, I lose my driver's license, but I got a doctor's appointment and I don't have anybody to drive me? I need to go to the grocery store and I don't have anybody to drive me. This is part of keeping our seniors alive. And not only that, it's not just the seniors. We have individuals that have disabilities that, require transportation. So I think we should take a look at that and see, like Councillor Brown said, how we can help them out. Because a town is not helping our economic growth. It's not helping, if it's the seniors, we're alienating our seniors from transportation. So that's all I have to say.
Councillor Olson, your hand is up.
Thank you. Biggest thing is, what are you cutting? If we're taking over this, because we're taking it over, it's not helping them out. The 5 or 6 that were sitting here the couple of weeks ago, by the sounds of it, they're walking away. By the sounds of this letter, they're walking away. They're gonna come in, hand the keys and say, you're in charge of the bus, you handle it. What services are we cutting in order to provide this service? Another thing, is it the municipality's responsibility to provide that type of service? I'm been the dick on the council with my comments for years. Devil's advocate then.
Thank you.
Because somebody loses their license, and I understand there's all kinds of people, but there's family, there's friends, and for a municipality to start, of our size, to start getting into public transportation, no way. We can't build extra houses in town because we need $14–15 million for sewers. Now we're gonna have a bus. And look, the headaches that some staff members are gonna have. Who's driving it? We're gonna have to pay a bus driver now to come in? More staff, more money that we're gonna be taking out of the capital budget, regular budget, raising taxes. You're talking about longevity of the town, you start raising taxes and everything, and no. That's my opinion.
Councillor Smith?
I don't necessarily disagree with Councillor Olson, but it is the handicapped people that I'm concerned about, because there are other rideshare programs that are available for the day-to-day people, that, people, seniors without license or without a vehicle. But if there's any way we can help them that isn't gonna cost us an arm and a leg, to at least supply support to move some handicapped people around. That's the only concern I have. And I have no idea what that support would be.
Just with respect to the letter and timing and what have you, I don't disagree that this could be something that we could deal with at our workshop, or at a workshop. it's the sharing of some of this work. I'm worried about that comment. Because, as indicated by Councillor Olson, the volunteer side of it is what's concerning. Where do we get bus drivers? How do we organize that scheduling and that sort of thing? So it's concerning. I would kind of suggest that maybe a first step might be to invite these two people to come in and speak with Mr. Davison, Mr. Van Buell, and maybe myself and the deputy mayor, if nothing else, to find out exactly what their sharing some of this work means. But I'm sorry, we're being put into a corner that's been created over a long time, and we're being asked to jump to a conclusion, and I don't think that's fair. But
Just, perhaps we should check with Alberta Health, because they've got that bus at the hospital that sits there. See who they use to operate it, to drive the people around. If they've got drivers, you know, perhaps there's something that could be combined there, and this bus wouldn't be needed.
Is that the one that's out of Radway?
No, it's this one based here.
It's it had Radway on the side of it.
No, it was donated, it was a spare bus out of Lac La Biche. But this isn't a decision we can decide tonight, so they may be demanding an answer, but they're certainly not gonna get it.
Mr. Van Buell?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think one of the first things that I want to get a handle on is what did we, I know we did something, again, before my time here, but the first thing I want to know is what was that? And I know we still provide them support through insurance and some financials, but I don't know what that package looked like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So I don't know what their pinch point is. And I don't want to be too much of the devil's advocate, but one of my concerns is we deal with community groups at Pembina Place constantly. And one of the things that happens with community groups when we partner with them, and I want to make sure, and I don't know how to say this other than very bluntly.
The whole thing.
Well, volunteers end up directing our staff because they need this, they want this, they want this, and that situation, from my perspective, is can't happen. To be blunt, council has one employee, myself, and I have one board that I report to, council, and I don't think it's fair to our staff to have that competing mindset where I've got this over here and I've got Ken over here and I've got Garnet over here. Our staff need to know exactly who they answer to and what their priorities are, and it's hard to do that if we've got different people giving different directions. So that's my concern when you say, you know, partner with, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not saying it can never work, but that's the first thing that I want to guard against. And the first piece of that is I need to know exactly what we did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So we need to do some research before we have any meeting. And it's not going to take 2 months or 3 months. You know, give me a week and we'll have that. We'll have an idea of what that was, and then certainly a meeting with, again, the deputy mayor, the mayor, Mr. Davison, and myself, and then we can go from there. Because we need to know what the ask is. Is the ask to take it over entirely? Is the ask to do bookings? Is the ask to do driving? Is the ask to do, you know, what is the exact ask? This letter doesn't give us that.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
The other thing too is, Councillor Smith brought up the thing about the AHS and the bus that they have there, but there's also Homeland Housing, and I know they have 2 vehicles here, and they've got several across the whole thing, and they have access to bus drivers and all that. They're prepared, so maybe there's another one that we can, if we find out what their asks are, we could partner them with somebody else that might be able to help them, rather than it be us.
Go ahead, Councillor Butcher.
I agree totally with Councillor Smith and Councillor, I agree with everybody. So the sooner we can meet with them and see what their wants and their needs are, and like I told the individual that brought me the letter, that I am one of 7, and I speak what to do.
Go ahead, Councillor Smith.
I move we accept this letter as information and get administration to make further contact. Come back to us. If they can have that, any information by then, but, you know, until they can get it put together.
Almost 2 weeks, so. You said the 17th?
That's our next meeting, so I was just wondering. Okay. So the motion is to accept it as information and have administration move forward as they can.
Yeah.
Councillor Brown, or Deputy Mayor Brown, anything further with respect to that? Does that kind of dovetail with what?
I think it's a place to start anyways. One more thing in regards to knowing what it was in the past. I don't know how important that is because we obviously let it go, right? Whatever it was, right? So to me, it obviously wasn't a good situation from our perspective, and that's why we opted out, right? So I just, you know, the tone of this letter bothers me a lot. It's very
Aggressive.
yeah, it's an ultimatum. It's a veiled ultimatum, but it's an ultimatum, right? So I'm not, you know, it's either do this or else. And I'm not, that doesn't lead to good conversation, right? So.
Would that meet your needs, Mr. Van Buell?
Absolutely.
Any further discussion by council? Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay. Item 14.1, Councillor Spicer.
Motion to move to closed session?
Thank you. Call that question. All in favor? That's carried. And we'll just need a minute for the electronics to catch up. Councillor Butcher?
We come out of closed session, please.
Thank you. Call that question, all in favor? Thank you. Councillor Olson?